Hey, David Christian from the Modern Martial Artist here. Let's go over both co-main events real quickly, because I don't have a lot of time, people. I have places to be. I have things to do. I need to go meet some friends and get drunk. So, we'll start off with Cormier and Oezdemir. So, Oezdemir actually came in with a pretty decent plan because John Jones really exposed that Cormier said it himself. If I ever get knocked out, this will be why. When he slips inside, he tends to drop his hand. I think that that's kind of just a repercussion or an artifact, if you will, of his wrestling, and that he's looking to just wrap his hands around the leg or the waist or, whatever have you. He's looking to grab something. And so whenever he slips inside, that hand isn't holding the phone, is kind of looking to do something else, which can be a bad, good thing and can be obviously a very bad thing. So Oezdemir kept feinting right and then coming in with like a left upper hook, kind of like a 45-degree thing at times, and he was catching him. He was catching him okay, but I feel the main problem was he wasn't following up with anything. He wasn't taking advantage of that. And Cormier, obviously, just a wrestling genius, just an overall, just incredible fight IQ, and you only have a certain amount of time. It's just like with Khabib. You only have a certain amount of time. If you're not really skilled at wrestling, you only have a certain amount of time, and then you're kind of fucked. But what was impressive with Cormier is that he kind of caught on after I think like 3 or 4 of them. And so as well as slipping, he kind of shuffled to the right. And that was the first time that Oezdemir kind of really majorly missed with it, like didn't even clip him. And then he did that and threw a right overhand too. So that was impressive along the striking line. There's not really much even to go into with grappling in that fight. Cormier did his thing, and Oezdemir had no kind of meaningful defense to really talk about. I think I remember him getting off the cage once, which is, that's impressive. He did. I don't think he did. I think I'm thinking the next fight, but he did frame off of Cormier's shoulder, and he framed off of his face, and it pushed his jaw away a couple times. So that was a good idea too. When Cormier, kind of wrapped his hand, I'm giving it kind of like a, it's kind of a mismatch to begin with. As powerful as Oezdemir is, it's kind of a mismatch to begin with because he doesn't have the full skill set of MMA. If we were talking a kickboxing match, it'd be something different. But so I'm just kind of, don't think I'm shitting on Cormier. I love Cormier. I'm just kind of saying what Oezdemir maybe could have done better if his strategy was just to avoid wrestling altogether, which in MMA, you used to be able to sprawl and brawl. You can't anymore. You used to be able to even just have a really good defense. You could be a good grappler and have, good striking defense and kind of work that into your grappling. But now everything needs to supplement each other. And I'm going to go into this a little bit more on my Mighty Mouse breakdown. But basically, you can't just be good. You can't be amazing at offense on one thing, whether it's striking or wrestling or whatever the hell. And you can't be, and then just have decent takedown. Your grappling now needs to be, if you're really good at striking, your grappling needs to be offensive and supplement your striking. If you're really good at grappling, your striking needs to be not just defensive, but offensive and supplement and set up your grappling. And obviously, once again, could be an amazing example of that. The striking leads to the takedowns. And then obviously when you get someone on the ground, it heavily supplements the grappling, It's hard to just stay in the same position and just kind of try to ride out the round or better your position if you're just taking constant punches or elbows to the face or knees to the belly or whatever the hell. So yeah, that's it with the first fight. Moving on to the second. All right, so next, Miocic versus Ngannou was pretty decent, pretty good fight. First round was pretty much where everything happened and all the really entertaining stuff. And then after that, I guess it was fun if you didn't like Ngannou. But both great fighters in very different ways, obviously. Miocic just won with superior boxing as well as wrestling, and he won in the first. I feel he won it in the first round in the stand-up. And then after that was neutralized and Ngannou got tired so quickly, it was just obvious what was going to happen from there. So just a few specifics that I noticed is Miocic started off ducking really low and just great head movement all around, not too like wide and broad to where he was getting off balance or getting offline and unable to throw. Like, he could still throw really tight counters, and he could still, just throw straight punches and jab and cross and all that kind of good stuff. But then what Ngannou did that was pretty impressive is he realized, like, hey, he's ducking low. He's ducking really low. I'm going to throw some of my insanely overpowered uppercuts and kind of smashes at him. And so he started doing that. And then once again, Miocic did another adjustment. He started slipping instead of ducking. And he'd slip, and then they call it slip and rip. I think that's kind of, it sounds like he's farting. He slipped and then he ripped it. So he slipped offline, and then he threw like a tight, cross or jab afterwards. I only saw the fights once, so I'm going off memory here. But so that was pretty good. That was really impressive that he adjusted his head movement. I guess he'd taken a year off a while back because he's already a great wrestler. He took a year off just to work on boxing, and it really paid off tonight because the fundamentals really overpowered the power, and that a lot of times that's what happens. So after that, as well as slipping up high and avoiding those punches, the uppercuts, as well as the wide hooks and everything, because Ngannou's more a step around kind of guy. He'll even do something fairly impressive athletically, and he'll lean back like Ali, and then he'll come in around with a very wide punch like Foreman. So if he could develop that a little bit better and work on. He has okay takedown defense, honestly. Like, I know I'm going to get shit on for saying that after he got taken down so many times, but the reason he got taken down so many times was the reason he became a walking target, is he just has no stamina. And I don't know if that's something that can actually be fixed with his body type. He's just so muscular. I mean, he could throw less, for sure he could throw less. But if you're against someone who's pushing the pace even a little, or leaning on, just leaning on him, or lying on him for so long, there's not really a whole lot you can do about it. Like I said, the fight was over in the first round. And Miocic, as well as slipping, he just head to hip, just classic takedown stuff, turning, that's one of the things that transferred so well from boxing into wrestling. I mean, it's almost like the two grew up together. It's almost like they used to be the same thing. If you can't tell by the sarcasm, they absolutely used to be the same thing. In the early days of pugilism, they actually, takedowns were allowed, and grappling was allowed, above the waist. And different organizations had different rules, but the styles are meant to actually blend together fairly well. Obviously, they evolved over time, so disclaimer, etc., etc., etc. So I'll have a fight breakdown with actual newfangled video footage. Whoa. And nifty arrows and circles and everything coming out tomorrow or the day after for one or both of the fights. They're both pretty easy to break down, and they're both, it's not going to be very time consuming, but there are some interesting things to kind of look at and examine, and I'm sure I'll find more things when I get to watch it again over in slow motion. So yeah, hope you guys are having a great night, and I will be putting out a video soon, and happy training.